Lord, so bless you. All right, so thank you, ladies, for going. I'm kind of glad I didn't pop in the middle of that because she talked about Jesus, then she talked about being nice, and then I'm about to talk about being ratchet. So, I'm like, woo! That's all right today. So, yeah. So about that night, I performed at TrapKaraoke and about my embodiment. Avowed Embodiment, a new performance theoretical framework for the people. So as I'm going through this presentation, I'm going to ask you guys, y'all with your Twitter fingers, as you tweet, use the hashtag #It'sATrapDissertation. Also make sure that you guys are tagging TrapKaraoke, as well as using my handle SoccerTemp2. So again, as you guys are listening, if you catch something that catches your ear, you like, yes, use It's a Trap Dissertation, TrapKaraoke, tag them, and there's my handle. So, all right, bet. So this presentation will discuss my newly formulated and forthcoming publication on my embodied rhetorical performance theory, Avowed Embodiment. This presentation will discuss my rhetorical theory in action by reviewing members and participants of the TrapKaraoke movement. The presentation will showcase raw video footage of my own TrapKaraoke experience in which I utilize to develop my theory. So heads up, it's gonna be some cuss words. And yeah, so some of y'all, again, she was talking about my Lord and Savior over there, so I feel kind of bad. I feel like I need to bleep everything, right? I ain't got time to do it though. All right, so Avowed Embodiment. So I know that this slide here is text dense, but this is probably going to be the only text dense slide that I'll have here for today. So Avowed Embodiment operates as a performance model that helps explain and articulate the actions, both instinctive and rhetorical, of individuals of different embodiments and identities. I developed this theory because, thank you, Dr. Sher, for being here. I was in her class and we were talking about social movements and the way in which they presented themselves, and I couldn't find a word to describe the way they presented themselves. So I did what the Academy loves to do and developed a theory for it. So, Avowed Embodiment is built on William Cross's Nigrescence Theory, which is a psychological transformation from Negro to Black. But by avowing or to openly confess one's embodiment, the individual or members of an organization can employ their newfound understanding and acceptance as a means of activism, resistance, and/or celebration. Avowed Embodiment utilizes the different facets of embodiment to address issues of social norms associated with certain bodies, but it also suggests the acceptance of social critique and utilizing this matter of acceptance and acknowledgement how the participant or the individual may see fit for the situation at hand. So I got 3 key things I want you guys to keep up with as we talk today. So, Avowed Embodiment broken down for the way we're going to move through it today. First, Avowed Embodiment serves as a means of identification. In other words, to be seen visibly. Second, it serves as a means of communication. So community, symbolic speech, and togetherness. And finally, it serves as a means for celebration or activism. So one more time for the good time. We have identification, visibility. Next, we have communication, which is community, symbolic speech, and togetherness. And then finally, we have celebration, which is to activism, and so on and so forth. So now, TrapKaraoke. So what I have here, my dissertation project is actually focused around TrapKaraoke and HBCU mission statements. So what I've decided to do today is to speak on the time that I performed, which led to it being my dissertation project. This specific chapter in my dissertation is completely digital. Not video and then written. No, the whole chapter is digital. I had to advocate for it, and then we made it happen. So what I want to do is give you guys a snippet. I have a few snippets from my dissertation. But the first snippet I wish to give you all is a video that we have from the attendance at TrapKaraoke when I went to go conduct interviews and gain some footage. Can y'all see that? I'm sorry. you guys an idea of what TrapKaraoke was. So TrapKaraoke was founded in summer 2016. Is an organization that engages and connects the lived experiences of TrapKaraoke participants in a culture that is inherently Black. So when we're looking at TrapKaraoke, another way that a lot of people have described it, it's like going to church, but instead of singing hymnals, you're singing Back That Ass Up. So it's a space where people come together and celebrate their Blackness through community and different types of music that is inherently Black. So as I move you guys through those three places, identification, communication, and celebration, there are three specific examples we're going to look at that are present in TrapKaraoke. So the first thing that we're going to look at are the T's for the trap. Then we're going to look at celebrating Blackness, and then the actual dissertation project, like I said, which led to all of this. So identification is done through the T's for the trap at TrapKaraoke. So T's for the trap are shirts that showcase the avowed embodiment of the wearer. It is possible to wear the shirts outside the TrapKaraoke space as I have today. However, in the context of my analysis of the way that I look at it, I further investigate why T's for the trap participants wear the T-shirts. So if you guys can possibly see the text, and I know it's kind of a struggle, you see here that I'm wearing the Reclaiming My Time shirt, which is a reference to Aunt Maxine and reclaiming her time. So that accounts for my personal embodiment because I have to walk around reclaiming my time all the time. So you have this going on here, but then I know this text is kind of small over there. Every time that I go to a conference, I'm sure to wear a T-shirt that represents what I'm going to be speaking about. I do this for two reasons. One, because it's a marketing scheme, and you'll remember me. But another reason that I do that is because, again, it showcases my embodiment. Some of you guys may or may not be familiar with ATTW, the Association for Teachers of Technical Writing Conference. And the shirt that I wore yesterday, this is my neutral and objective technical communication shirt. Because there's an idea that TechCom is neutral and objective. Obviously, it's not, first of all. And putting it on my body showcases just how neutral and objective that it actually is not. So we look at T's for the trap in motions at TrapKaraoke, and a lot of time participants, they'll show up with their T's for the trap. And if you guys were to go, even just Google and type in T's for the trap, you'll see a great deal of these T-shirts and how fabulous they are. Next, so communication, we live together. So what I'm going to show you guys after I speak through this a little bit is actually me performing at TrapKaraoke here. So the images that you see are things that I've stolen from other people's Instagram. So the first image that you have here is I performed and someone from my undergrad Elizabeth City, they took a picture and said, Elizabeth City, do we know someone named Temptaous Mckoy from Fayetteville? So it was, okay, we're going this together. And then the other two that you see, these are people that I've met in the line. And then I was able to connect with them. The young lady that creates my shirts, I met her at TrapKaraoke. So she and I stay in contact. And those are videos, but I just did the stills. So again, you have this idea and celebration of Blackness. This is from my Snapchat story. The reason I decided to kind of throw that in there, because it's an authentic celebration. Again, avowed embodiment is us going back to say, yes, I'm Black, I'm lit, this is my song, turn up. It's all performative, it all comes through from the body. So, and the reason I muted this because I was in the crowd doing what you do on Snapchat. But you guys can see how that Blackness is celebrated. So what I'm going to do is show you guys two performances. It's me performing it, but it's from two different angles. So on the first angle, and while you guys are looking at it, I want you guys to kind of see what's happening even in my performance that can be identified as avowed embodiment, but also try to pay attention to what the crowd is doing. Pay attention to how they're singing along. Because remember, we're talking about communication, which leads to celebration, right? So I'm going to start with the first one. Again, there's profanity and all that. So just on that video alone, again, I know it's kind of hard to see. There are people with their phones out, so they're capturing the images. You see that they're saying like "we lit." A lot of these stuff, I took them off of Instagram, and they capture like "black girl magic," like all of these things. Even in my performance and when I move to, you guys see at the end, I get closer to the gentleman. I mean him, we're vibing, we're having a celebration, because that tacit knowledge, we have a sense of community with one another. So this second image here is the second verse, and it kind of alludes to why I have this shirt on. So once you guys see it, then I'm going to speak more a little bit about it. So again, pay attention to kind of what I'm doing and then the audience as well. So you notice how you were living for that. But you notice how the crowd is now involved, right? So you get to a part in the song. So if you probably walk up to anyone that knows this type of music and you say, "Well, my name is Susie and Gucci think I love them," their response is gonna be, "That sucker think I'm loyal." You see, like, so it's that community. You like, I'm gonna learn that. But it's their community. I'm gonna find you later and be like, but it's that celebration, that togetherness, right? That black community there. I don't know how many of y'all know the song, but I mean, hey, it's cool. But you see how it's that avowed embodiment. It comes through in the song and it comes through in togetherness, right? And then finally, how this experience led to my dissertation. So again, my dissertation is on TrapKaraoke and HBCUs, which is one lit dissertation that is for the culture. So it's a celebration. Again, it's a trap dissertation. By being able to avow my embodiment and then to go into this space, I was able to learn how to utilize this well-founded understanding of my body as a means of activism and as a means to advocate for these types of ways of knowledge making. I think when we think of activism, we kind of have like one tunnel vision of that, but I also think of activism as a way of exposing people to, things that's in your community and actually advocating for that to become a part of, like general knowledge. So for me, what you guys can see, and this is going to drop my gears because I can't even see them over here. What I was able to do was I posted my acceptance indices, and in that middle image, TrapKaraoke reposted it to their social media. So that's how a lot of people find out who I was. But they reposted my C's acceptance, and then what was able to happen, I was able to get in contact with his people to start recording and everything. The second thing that I did, you all remember when that hurricane was coming up this way and then it did like this? Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I was supposed to be at that TrapKaraoke event in which T.I. was there, and I was supposed to connect with him. So when that hurricane was like, nah, bro, I wasn't able to go. But what we decided to do instead was we blitzed social media for 3 days, tagging T.I., 2 Chainz, and what we did, we kept going. We kept asking him, hey, can you be a part of my dissertation project? Because his avowed embodiment, he has a role and a position in trap music, right? Avowed embodiment, activism, advocate. And we kept going until he finally agreed to be a part of my dissertation project. So I know some of you guys know his sister recently passed, so it's been some hiccup in making sure we're getting things completed. And then also what happened, we were given private access to the Trap Music Museum in Atlanta, Georgia. So me and my videographer, DeAndre Druitt, he was supposed to come today, but he wasn't able to. He and I went in and got all of the artifacts in there. And it's funny because I thought of my mentor, Dr. Sherry, here, because she likes to do archival research. I created an archive. So as we went in and we were able to do this, and now we have access to it, in which other people for generations to come can look at it. So the final thing I'm going to show you guys, I'll move 2 more things. I have an actual teaser that I've been using for when I'm on the market, in which I show people to understand what my dissertation is about. So I have not put this out in a public space. I ain't putting it out yet. So I want you guys to be able to see what's going on. Because we went to Atlanta and all that stuff. rhetorical video. But in closing, because I'm gonna pull it up there. Avowed embodiment is political. There's nothing non-political about it. Avowed embodiment provides a way to better understand performative rhetorical practices. Avowed embodiment studies the transformation of psychological process to physical performance. Shared moments of avowed embodiment has a heavy influence on community, understanding, and agency. And finally, it is my hope that avowed embodiment serves as a means to help uplift individuals, scholars, and non-scholars alike in understanding and navigating their lived experiences. Thank you.